Okay, so that's the Prada Cup Challenger Series semi-finals over with, and we've said goodbye to American Magic. Now, I don't want this to be a video bashing Team Barker, so I'm going to try and stay away from that. But for me, the overall take-home message from American Magic is, I think they have had a competitive challenge despite what the score sheet says. They have shown a great deal of potential, but they've been unlucky, and some of the decisions they've made early on in terms of the division of resource about the boat has cost them. Capsize, obviously, that was a nail in the coffin for their campaign. On the flip side, the rebuild from the Capsize, for me, yes, they didn't get a perfect working boat together, and we'll look at some of the examples of that later. But it does show me that they have a team that can succeed. What else do we look at in the weekend? Well, we saw Luna Rossa, supposedly 10% improved from the main commentary. That's complete crap. They definitely weren't 10% improved by any metric, but they were certainly sleeker. And one of the things we saw was the emergence of Pietro Sibello as a kind of, I wouldn't call it a tactician, because he's not really calling the boat-on-boat tactics, but more strategy, win strategy. And that's something where Luna Rossa have sometimes fallen down before, and he's picked up that baton between Jimmy and Bruni.
Your trap, Jimmy, have a look.
Yeah, my trap.
Yeah, I think better pressure this side here now.
However, I don't think Luna Rossa have solved the communication issues, and I think there's some hardware changes they need to make on the boat to really cement that kind of ambidextrous nature of it to get the full potential out.
Yes, stand by.
So, freeze frame there. This is the pre-start of race 3, and Luna Rossa are chasing American Magic towards the boundary to aim to put a lee bow tack in to leeward and then dictate the run back to the line. Francesco Bruni is to windward on the port side helm, and Jimmy Spittle is to leeward, looking directly at American Magic, calling the tack. And this is where we pick up the communication. Jimmy, as we said in previous videos, calls the tack when he can see the other boat out towards starboard. So he says, stand by.
Yeah. Board down, board down, board down. Board down, board is down.
So listen to that. Jimmy calls, board down, board down, board down. And Bruni, it just takes him a second to initiate that and actually put the board down. So this is the exact same issue they had in my previous video about the split helms and the communication issues going across the boat in these tight situations. What I don't understand is why, if the leeward helm is calling the tack, why they don't transfer complete control of the boat in terms of steerage and of that windward board to the leeward helm in that instance, and just put an extra button on each of the side of the boat so Jimmy can drop the port foil from the starboard side. I just don't understand that, and it's really causing them issues. Now, fortunately for Luna Rossa, American Magic also had a foil drop issue at this same time, but theirs was a mechanical issue. However, I did kind of think the commentary team were being very positive about Luna Rossa's communication, and yeah, I think the addition of Pietro as a kind of strategy, kind of keeping his eyes out the boat for breeze is good. But in the one instance in the whole weekend when they did have a pressure manoeuvre, and they still had the exact same issues as what we saw in the final race against Ineos. So for me, there's still definitely work to be done there. And let's have a little look about American Magic. Obviously, the second day today, it was clear they were having foil cant system issues. Two things for me there. Yeah, that foil cant system isn't perfect. Next time we go around from the Cup, that just needs to be a way better system. We got a bit of a glimpse into the foil cant system and the kind of things that the team are trying to do with it. It's certainly not as simple as just foil up, foil down. They're doing a lot with these foil cant systems. We got a glimpse of this with, I'm not sure if it's Andrew Campbell or Terry Hutchison uses a Spinal Tap reference when he says turn it to 11 and try that.
Something to do with the drop
Okay,
number.
yep. Yeah, try going back to 11. Where
Just a little here when we can. Okay, I'm going forward now.
We need that extra push over the cliff. You know what we do?
Put it up to 11.
11, exactly. One louder.
Found that quite amusing, but obviously forecast system issues. But for those who were keen-eyed, we actually saw those issues turn up yesterday. In the pre-start, there was a foil drop, a foil raise issue that Dean Barker flagged up.
Here, port up in 2, 1 port up. Ports not coming.
And there was the involuntary foil drop after the win with Mark, which caused one of their splashdowns.
Yeah, copy. I'm trying to get it back up. I got it.
Interestingly, both the board drop issues on day one were the port side, where they had the crash, the capsize. However, by day two, it was both sides, forecast system not working. For me, really, I knew they weren't competing any longer when in the first start, they just followed Luna Rossa over the line, sitting in their dirty air, not even attempting to tack out. Even Bruni on Luna Rossa was surprised. He looked back saying they'll tack straight away, and then they didn't, they just followed. Clearly, American Magic weren't comfortable in their boat this weekend, and they weren't really there to race. You could also see it in the pre-starts, never really taking it to Luna Rossa, just trying to nurse the boat around the course. Okay, so that's the end of my review. I did have a few clips of Dean Barker crawling across the back of the AC75. I was going to compare him to Pietro Sibello and how neat and tidy he is on his feet, but I just can't bring myself to do that in a video. Those guys must be really hurting, but I think what they've got to understand is they came so far with this challenge. It looked a hugely competitive outfit until the capsize, and I think they have got the makings of a winning team. Clearly they need to change around some of their sailing team and sharpen up that division of labour in the boat. That's really what we've learnt in this Prada kind of Challenger series so far. Looking forward to the final. I think it's going to be super close between Luna Rossa and Ineos. We saw some glimpses of Luna Rossa's improvements this weekend. Hard to quantify though against a weakened American Magic. Ineos certainly will be making improvements as well. In fact, we've spied some changes to the foils already. So it's going to be interesting when they match up again. I'm really looking forward to it. Finally, so you noticed my Top of Worlds prize in the previous videos in the comments. So I've got this in the background. So if anyone knows what trophy that is, answer in the comments.